Donk Nation, Jackson, Janet's greetings and welcome to your Daily Dose of Donkey with Ginger. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey, bringing you some Steelers talk on the eve of the Green Bay Packers game, Week 10. I'm not allowed to be friends with my new neighbors yet because they're Packers fan. It'll have to wait till after next week. But Gingy, Laskers, I'm allowed to have some friends here in Steelerland. How's it going, gents?
Gingy in the house. Let's go. Fired up for the game this weekend, Donkey. Sorry to hear you neighbors are Packers fans. Might have to give them something extra over this weekend. Hopefully hurt their feelings.
7-foot-tall inflatable Steelers Santa is what's about to go up. Laskers, how's it been?
It's not bad. Lasker's in the house. I think that would actually be pretty sweet, Donkey. And the other guy that I'm really good friends with, Paul, he's a Packers fan, and we're gonna do a tri-tip on Sunday. So I'm gonna be rooting for us. So he's probably gonna be crying.
Tri-tip, Three Rivers, everything's coming up black and gold as far as I see. And Gingy, I want to infuse some positivity in the surrounding talk of this Pittsburgh Steelers team, because everywhere I go, all I read is how we're terrible at this, how we're terrible at that, how we don't deserve to win football games. Laskers, you're reviving on me. Please fix it. And I just want some positivity, Gingy. I want people to talk about this team's in the midst of a rebound. This team is 5-3. This team is meeting all expectations record-wise. So why aren't we allowed to have a little fun?
5-3 is worth it, Donkey. You can have a little fun at 5-3. I'm okay with that. Who isn't okay with that?
Have you read anything? I mean, what's the jack off that writes for Steelers Wire? Well, I can't think of his name right now. Papa Joe, have you read anything from behind the steel curtain? Even the more happy ones on some of the other sites. There's just this influx of, yeah, the Steelers are winning, but it won't win anything. Yeah, the Steelers are this, but they won't be anything. Yeah, our defense gets clutch turnovers, but they give up the second most yards in the league. Yeah, our offense is terrible, and Kenny Pickett can't keep winning in the fourth quarter. Laskers, why the hell can't Kenny Pickett keep winning in the fourth quarter?
I don't see why he can't. I mean, he's shown up in the fourth quarter multiple games. I don't know why he couldn't keep doing that. And, I'm glad that he keeps showing up in the fourth quarter.
And Gingy, I know it's been 2 years of terrible, but why can't the breeze on Matt Canada's head keep working and this offense keep taking strides forward?
Well, I hope that it does. We're going to need to see it happen real soon, though. Donkey, I think the discontent is around the proportions of how we're winning these games. And I don't really think that anyone is going to be super satisfied with a 28th, 29th ranked offense in the league.
Hey, I'm going to say the proportions of what I eat have gone from a lot more meat and potatoes to a lot more sweets. And I'll tell you one thing, Gingy, I ain't complaining about the sweets because they make me happy.
Well, now I will follow that up by saying there's been some injuries on that offense throughout the first half of the season.
Deontay Johnson!
Right, and that really seems at this point like a big piece moving forward. So there are saving graces still without Freiermuth.
Broderick Jones finally starting like he probably should have been from day one.
Let's hope that continues to help boost the run game.
Yes, that seems to be the more 50-50 timeshare from Jaylen Warren of Najee Harris that we've been asking for a year. I mean, there's some positive things trending this direction, and at the end of the day, we can be mad all we want. And I know this team hasn't outgained an opponent, but Gingy, there is something to be said about this clutch five. I mean, even the defense has it. The defense gives up 1.5 billion yards, but come crunch time, they seem to make the plays. I mean, TJ Watt sacking people with no helmet. Quan Alexander intercepting the ball after two of his teammates drop one. It just seems there's something about this team, the way they win, that just feels, I guess you could say, impossible. But if you don't have confidence in the Steelers making the stop at the end of a close game, if you don't have confidence in Kenny Pickett winning the game. My question, Gingy, is what the hell have you been watching the last 2 years?
No question. No, absolutely no question that Kenny Pickett has the closing power, pulling the curtain on that show. But really, Donkey, there's been too many 3-and-outs. I'd be okay.
Agreed.
Oh, no, I might regret saying this at some point, but I'd be okay with even some more field goals, some positive drives that have some production. Now, let's not get into the routine of always getting field goals per se, but no more 3-and-outs, Donkey, just really hurt both sides of the ball, defense and offense.
There's no doubt about that. That does happen far too often. I feel a lot of it is play design, right? Because when you look at the Steelers, we have 15 play, 8-minute drives, Laskers. We have it's a hard-working thing. You can't afford to get behind the sticks. And how many times on those 3-and-outs, Laskers, does it feel like it's a run play to Najee with another run play to Najee or a screen pass, and then it's 3rd and 8. It's like, it's Kenny Pickett's fault for never converting 3rd down because we're always at 3rd and 8. As a matter of fact, I think we are one of the leading teams in the NFL in 3rd and 7 or longer percentage.
Oh, I definitely don't think it's Kenny's fault. I mean, if you're going to keep trying to run the ball through Kenny or screen passes, whatever, sorry, Najee, and he can't get more than a yard or two on an attempt, that's not Kenny's fault. I mean, Najee needs to show up and actually, get a yard or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 to make it a 3rd and 5. Make it more manageable.
Yes, I agree. And some of the missed throws, I won't argue, are Kenny's fault. But when you expect a quarterback to be perfect because he has to be perfect on 3rd and long, you're asking for mistakes, Gingy. And where I really get frustrated with a lot of these evaluators from Steelers Depot type websites, right, is, well, look at the throw Kenny Pickett missed. Dude, turn on the game take of Patrick Mahomes, Gingy, and how many throws do you think he misses a game that he should make? Because I got a kind of answer because I watched Kansas City games this year. So I have a semi-answer for you. What would you think it is?
I don't know, Donkey. Lay it on me.
It's about five open throws he misses on average a game. Now, albeit he throws the ball about 45 times, so that's about 10% of his throws. So you're telling me you expect a young developing quarterback to be better than the best of the best? The fact of the matter is, right now, Kenny Pickett's completion percentage is about Ben's career average. Do the missed throws seem more important? Yes, because his offense doesn't move the ball. But when you break this down as a giant numbers thing, he converts about what the normal guy does. The biggest problem is we're always playing behind the sticks. And Gingy, we alluded to it earlier. This running game, if you are going to be a run-based football team, you cannot have 1st down runs that for Najee Harris in the first quarter, his 1st down runs average under 2 yards a carry. You cannot have that, Gingy. And to me, that is the biggest problem of this offense, and that's what we're not talking about.
Donkey, it comes down to this. Points on the board. Points on the board. We're not getting them.
We're not. There's no doubt about that. But what I'm saying is when I look at these offensive failures, I'm looking at 1st down, and I'm looking at 1st down running plays specifically early in the game. And albeit with Broderick Jones in both of his starts, Baltimore and this week at Tennessee, it looks a lot better than it did any other time. But maybe some of the factors we have to bring in here is this running unit needs to be better to alleviate pain from the passing unit. And then, importantly, the Steelers defense needs to stop this thing of every time the Steelers score a damn touchdown, they give up a 5-minute drive. I think it's something along the line of 70% of Steelers touchdown drives have been followed up where the opponent had the ball for more than 4 minutes. We need to start playing cohesive football, get a score, get a stop, and put a nail in a damn coffin, Gingy.
I'd love to see it, Donkey. They both squads got it in them, and now is the time of year when you want to see that come together.
For sure, for sure. And I'm not alleviating Kenny Pickett of any problems for anyone who thinks I am. What I'm trying to say is right now, the biggest problem the Steelers need to fix is this offensive line needs to play better and that defensive line needs to play better. Because if we can become a run-based football team and we can start stopping the run, you're going to see a lot more of the Steelers and hopefully a lot more of the end zone because that's what needs to happen. And Gingy, we talked about it. You mentioned it. And we'll go to Laskers on this. Maybe the biggest missing part of the Steelers offense the whole year was Deontay Johnson. And I know some other guys are going to cry about his target share. But Laskers, I went to a game and I'm going to tell you one thing and one thing only. The only man on this football team who gets open is Deontay Johnson.
Oh, I agree with that. Losing Deontay for a couple weeks was a huge, huge problem for us. And I think having Deontay back is a huge benefit to us, you know. And Deontay can open up the field.
That he certainly can. And Gingy, are unforced errors by the receivers contagious? Because that non-toe tap last week is still driving me bananas.
Yeah, I think it's driving George Pickens, quite frankly, bananas as well, Donkey.
Fair enough. I wanted to... Okay, so what we're going to do here, guys, let's start here. Do you have any NFL topics you want to cover before we get into the Packers game?
Oh,
I don't think I do.
Nothing in particular.
Fair enough. What I want to get into is we'll go through the Packers stats, and we are going to do a cash or trash statement, but this week is going to be purely about things you expect to see from the Packers game. So I thought it'd be a little fun, and if you guys have any you want to throw back, feel absolutely free. But right now, we get to Steelers and Packers. All time, the Steelers are 16-20 against the Packers, albeit they started with 9 straight losses, some of which is when they were the Pittsburgh Pirates as a football team. So let's put that into perspective. At Pittsburgh, the Steelers are 8-7 on the road. They're 8-13. Who cares? This game's at home. The biggest win, Green Bay did it twice. 47 points. In 1933, they beat the Pirates 47-0. And in 1944, they beat the Steelers for 54-7. The Steelers' biggest win was 31 points. That was 38-7 in 1948. A lot of these records were set way back before I was even thought of, so that's kind of fun. The biggest win of the longest streak of the series was Green Bay with 9 to start it from 33 to 46. And Pittsburgh's was 4 from 75 to 86. The current streak, the Packers won the last game on the 3rd of October of the year 2021. They won that 27-17. But Pittsburgh has won the last 5 games played at Pittsburgh. At home, I guess is what we should say. But I want to verify everyone knows what's going on there. For a little fun, I used the Donk Nation Power Index predictor to see who would win this game. When it goes down to flat points, it was the Packers 17.8 to the Steelers 16.5. But the home field index this year has been worth 1.8 points, which means the Steelers should win this one in a nail biter by the score of 18.25 to 17.8. Wow, guys, isn't that a fun score?
18.25. I want to see that score.
Does that score kind of scream what you expect this game to be, though? Like 1 point type of no offense game?
Yeah, under 40 points total, 1 point game. Sounds about right.
That's what I thought. So let's get into some cash or trash statements about this game. First one, I'm going to go to you, Laskers. Jake Sternberger, former Green Bay Packer, former Pittsburgh Steeler, has talked about how the Steelers' offense just doesn't make you think about offense the way other teams do. He talked about how in Green Bay he'd have to answer why he's running this route, what this route's designed to do. Where in Pittsburgh it was, hey, go run a 5-yard slant. Do you think the oversimplistic Pittsburgh Steelers offense that they're running right now, which I'm not sure I disagree with, will score more than 20 points against the Green Bay Packers? Cash or trash?
Cash. I think it's going to be 21.
Oh, keeping it real close there. Fair enough. Gingy, over to you. the addition of Broderick Jones as only a co-starter right now, it seems like more of a formality where they don't want to say they're done with Chucks until, Broderick proves he can do it for a couple games in a row. So, cash or trash, Broderick Jones next week, because of his performance against Green Bay, will be listed as the primary starter at right tackle.
Cash. Give me that. He's trend. That's a stock that's trending upwards, Donkey. I'd like to see it, and I think that a big pancake guy would really help out what you're talking about in terms of this run first, stop the run type of scheme. That would be a big asset to that.
I like it. Laskers, let's go back over to you. Cash or trash, the Pittsburgh Steelers will once again have more than 150 rushing yards against the Green Bay Packers.
Ooh, boy. Trash. I'm thinking 130.
I still like that outcome. I'll take it. Gingy, over to you. How about this one? Man, you know what happens every time a Steelers receiver complains? They get the damn football. George Pickens just kind of went on a baby tantrum. Mike Tomlin doesn't discipline him. So cash or trash, George Pickens on 6+ receptions and 80+ yards against the Green Bay Packers.
Cash that up. Cash it up, Donkey. Well, I don't know. I don't know what the matchup looks like on that. We'll probably get to that a little bit later. I'd like to know who he's going against this week.
There's some pretty good corners on Green Bay. Don't quote me on the names because I have them written somewhere else. But Laskers, last one on the offense for us here, okay? The Steelers now have still never had more than 400 yards offense in the Matt Canada era. Cash or trash, this is the week that streak ends.
Trash, 350.
Laskers has comebacks offer every question I have, and I am not sure what to do with myself right now, Gingy. I guess it's time for us to go over to some defensive cash or trash. Gingy, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So, Gingy, the Steelers have an elite pair of edge rushers. They're missing some middle linebackers. Maybe we make up for that by bringing a little bit extra pressure with a guy who did the middle blitz, the Lawrence Timmons, Vince Williams blitz pretty good. That's Mark Robinson. But cash or trash, the linebacking crew will account for 2.5 or more sacks against the Packers.
Oh, boy. I think that cash that up, Donkey. If they're going to have success in this game, I think they're going to have at least 2.5. Yeah, dial me up 4. Dial me up 4.
I like that. Now, Laskers, the Packers are missing some really important parts of their offensive line. Guys like Josh Myers, guys like John Runyon aren't playing. The Steelers are missing Montravis Adams. That means Keanu Benton's getting more time. Don't forget this is week 2 of Cam Hayward. The additions the Steelers have, and they lost Cole Holcomb last week, obviously. The additions the Steelers have on defense will outweigh the losses in terms of run stopping, and the Steelers will hold the Packers under 100 yards rushing. Cash or trash?
Oh, boy. I'm going to go trash. It's going to be 110 yards.
Fair enough. Gingy, over to you. The Green Bay Packers have a list of receivers that I have no idea who any of them are, but we know how that went against Houston. I mean, Romeo Doubs, I guess, is probably their best guy. A guy like Jaden Reed, Malik Heath, Samori Toure, Christian Watson, I guess is the name I knew, and Dontavian Wicks. Gingy, cash or trash, the Steelers finally hold a whole receiving core in check, and no Green Bay Packer eclipses 60 receiving yards in the game.
I'd love to agree with you, Donkey, but that's trash. That Steelers defense is a lot of things, but it's not consistent enough.
Hey, Joey Porter Jr. shut down DeAndre Hopkins. He might have held him quite a bit, but he shut him down. Just putting it out there.
and that's
Yeah,
shutting down one.
That's all I got, okay? I'm sorry. I can't go any further than that. Laskers, cash or trash? You enjoy the new version of cash or trash as predictions for the future games.
Cash, I enjoy it a lot.
Gingy, same question.
Cash. Bring it in.
It looks
Keep
like
bringing
we
it.
are going to do cash or trash a new way from now on, folks. I thought it'd be pretty fun as well, so I'm glad that worked out and everyone had a good time. Now, Gingy, you wanted to talk about the Packers defense, specifically the secondary?
Yeah, I'd like to know who that wide receiving core, who Kenny Pickett is going to be looking at, who he's going to be staring at across from him next week.
Now, I could be wrong on this, but I believe Jair Alexander is hurt again, which he's their superstar corner. I don't think I guess he played the last few weeks, so he's back. Played against the Rams last week. Jair Alexander will be back. He's a guy who has shut down half of the field for forever. Hasn't had an interception this year, though, but you're looking at guys like Alexander, is it Ballentine, who's their other starting corner out there? He's a very type of guy.
Donkey
you got
Alexander's
guys
doubtful.
Like Owens. He's doubtful?
Yep.
All right, if Jair Alexander is not going to play, Gingy, really, you look at the Packers secondary and it's, how'd you say spotty in a nice way?
Vulnerable.
It's Pittsburgh Steeler-esque. And then the big question, I guess, for me would be playing through the middle, the real guy who makes a lot of plays. He's a little bit hot-headed, but the dude is an absolute talent, is Quay Walker. And Laskers, what do they have him listed as? Because I know he's also been dealing with injuries.
Doubtful as well.
If they have no Quay Walker in the middle, that could be huge for the Steelers. You look at the up front for the Packers. This might be a really bad game. Isn't Kenny Clark on the injury report, too? Their best defensive lineman?
God dang it. My thing didn't want to search.
Well,
he's listed as questionable.
Questionable. That likely means he's going to play. But if all three of those guys miss, Gingy, you're talking their top player on the defensive line, second tier, and the last tier of defense will all be injured. Seems like we should be able to expose it a little bit, I'd hope.
That's what I would like to see. 350 yards that Lasker's called at, that might not be out of the question. Let's hope so.
Now, of course, they do have a good pair of edge rushers in there. They have Preston Smith and why can't I think of the other guy? Rashawn Gary. Both have 4+ sacks this year. The Steelers have struggled giving up pressure. I believe they are the third most pressured team per dropback in the NFL. Maybe a lot of the problems we're having on the passing game come from pressures. But last week, again, Broderick Jones didn't allow, maybe he allowed one pressure again, but it seems like we've had such an impact since adding a lineman who's just a monster, because I'm watching the tape out there, Gingy, and this dude looks like he's in bad position, but he is so physically strong that even in bad position, he is winning. So maybe it's not the Packers defense we need to talk about, but maybe it's this future stud that the Pittsburgh Steelers seem to have found in Broderick Jones.
Let's hope so. Donkey, you can build a team around a stud offensive lineman, a shutdown guy, locks down the whole side. I can change the whole Alan Faneca, anybody?
Guard to tackle, but I understand you because
I understand not the same position, Donkey, but you know what you mean by locking down the whole side, bringing a presence, leading the unit. Yes,
I got what you're saying, and the reason you go to Faneca is because you can't name a lockdown offensive tackle as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan from our generation. I got you. We have some great interior guys, but if you're going to go, who's the best tackle the Steelers have had? And I'm like, Max Starks?
That'd do.
That's about the name I can come up with. I mean, goodness gracious, Laskers, I'm drawing a blank here. Like Big Al was awesome. Big Al is awesome because he's a veteran, and on Veterans Day, shout out to that dude. But in terms of just dominant linemen at tackle, Max Starks and maybe for a couple years that right tackle we had out of Florida from the same draft as Pouncey. I don't know why. I can't think of his name right now. Ended up signing with Arizona, or we traded him there. But to have a lockdown tackle in Pittsburgh would be unique, I guess. My goodness gracious, that could be fun.
It's definitely unique.
Now, I want to talk about one more thing before we get into predicting the Packers and Steelers. Is it possible that during this rebuild the Steelers are in, and you could call it, you could say we're not, you could say whatever, like we've already talked about, we're weak in the trenches both ways, is the most important thing starting to come through, and that is building this offensive line? Is the addition of Broderick Jones going to be that catalyst that lets us start to have time in the passing game, room in the running game, and start to see this offense take a step from 16 points a game to, dare I say, 22, Gingy?
Donkey. I have no idea. Okay, let's talk about the We need to cut down on the unforced errors. Have a little bit more disciplined unit. Donkey, lots of penalties last week.
Yes. Yes. It was sloppy. Thursday Night Football, sloppy.
After 10 days rest, I'd like to see non-sloppy football tomorrow out of both units. But in terms of turning 16 into 22 points, so what I saw in the Titans game was the ability to move the ball, but I still need to see a close, a finish. Somebody in that red zone who's going to step up and be a finisher. Is it good? Saw it from Najee last week. Good running. Good running could be the recipe, Donkey. Are Najee and Warren going to be the recipe in the red zone? I don't know. What do you think?
I would like the recipe to be the big 6'7" third-round rookie that we never throw the damn ball to, because let's be honest, he sucks at running routes. But allegedly he has really good hands, and in the red zone, I don't need him to run a damn good route. Run straight at the damn goalpost, let Kenny Pickett put it up where only your tall ass can catch it, and use those really soft hands, Washington! What do you think, Laskers?
Oh, I agree. I mean, if you're that tall, you should be able to catch the ball. And he should be able to. Kenny should be able to throw it where he can only catch the ball.
And you know, watching our 6'7", 270-pound offensive tackle might be a little more scary in the run scheme, possibly in the red zone, than, no offense here, Connor Hayward, but you're a little dude, Gingy, and our little dude should not be used that often in the red zone, at least not as a tight end.
Not consistently. That's got to be a misdirection. Gotcha. Looking the other way type of thing.
Now, bonus cash or trash for both of you. Deontay Johnson goes a year without a touchdown. He catches one in back-to-back weeks.
I'm going cash on that one.
Yeah, cash. He's got to be. We're continuously talking about this guy being the focal point of the offense. So if we're talking about success on that offense, we got to talk about him scoring the rock. Like to see one from him and one from Pickens so he can stop pouting.
Pickens has got to be the first one, though.
He's definitely going to get the ball, I have a feeling, Lasters. Now let's flip it over. We talked about the Steelers versus the Packers defense a lot. Let's talk about the offensive side of the ball. Jordan Love, what is he, third-year quarterback, first-year starter. Had a decent first couple of games, and then really it seemed to teeter off a little bit, not making the plays you expect, not really looking the part. And Green Bay, much like a lot of Pittsburgh, is, we got to get a quarterback mode. But the dude has arm talent. The dude's made some throws, and he has a little bit of wheels in there. However, his receiving core isn't exactly top-heavy either. So, Gingy, is the most important part of this game stopping Jordan Love's running ability along with shutting down Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon?
Absolutely. I think Cam Hayward is going to be able to do that, and I think consistent pressure on the quarterback, always the recipe. I think Jordan Love, I don't know a ton about him, but I think I do. From what I do know, he's one of them quarterbacks I think that you can rattle. Not necessarily but like put pressure on, and will try to make a play that he shouldn't, and thereby giving up the football. I think that we can put him in that position.
Oh, Gingy wants to talk splash. Blaskers!
Mm-hmm.
Splash is exactly what the Steelers do, but I like to bring it a step forward and call them the cannonballs. You know, the splash plays that lead to points. Do you think the Steelers are going to have a couple of those? And if so, who are you looking for to make them?
I think they are. And my gut reaction is Jaylen Warren making a splash play, busting a big run. And I think I'm going to go with one splash play. I was debating about another one, but
Gingy, we haven't really seen these depth players on the Steelers' offense or defensive line make many plays. And with Montravis Adams being out, that means Benton, who's been the best backup, is going to start. But let's talk about some of these guys Steelers have used draft capital on that haven't shown up yet. I'm talking like Isaiah Loudermilk. They brought in Amari Watts. And the guy I really want to talk about, and I told you I hated this pick for one reason only. It wasn't the player, it was the fit, is DeMarvin Leal. They've tried him at outside linebacker. They tried to move him back down to defensive end. My question is, with his size and the way he plays, does DeMarvin Leal even have a spot where he can be successful on this defense?
I've seen shots of, brightness from him on this defense, but it might be a Javon Hargrave type of situation, Donkey.
Well, Hargrave was good in this defense and then became great because he finally got to play the way he wanted. So I would like to see that goodness that you're talking about there show up from Leal. And Gingy, one last thing to close out when the defense is on the field. We talked about the Packers' offense and lack of receivers, really on all of that front. A couple good running backs. I mean, Dylan's a big dude, and Aaron Jones. I mean, he's a great player, right?
Right.
But the Steelers right now, Cole Holcomb, the guy who's really leading that defense, Minkah Fitzpatrick, the guy who normally has the green dot, we're not talking about it, but maybe Mark Robinson gets some plays, and we've seen him play downhill and good against the run but can't cover, a la Vince Williams. But maybe the most important fact we're not talking about is communication. Do you see communication being a problem for the Steelers in this game?
Communication?
Yeah.
Like on offense or defense?
On defense.
Or?
Missed calls, like Joey Porter Jr. handing the guy off to no one. Levi Wallace forgetting to run with his guy. Just no one covering the middle of the field because none of them know what the hell they're doing with Minkah and Holcomb out. We saw it in the Tennessee games, just missed assignments. Both of our green dot players are no longer on the field. Do you think that communication is going to be a liability for this defense?
Yeah, let's not project any of that, Donkey. I'm almost thinking that's let's not bring any of that bad juju in here. Yes, we are having quite a few missing pieces add up to that defense. Donkey, historically, that has not boded well for the Steelers during this time of the season. However, I hope that what you're proposing does not come true, but I can see where you're coming from with the communication issues. We'll see how that works out this week. It seemed to be okay last week, question mark, for the most part, on Thursday night on a short week.
I don't disagree. I mean, it wasn't terrible. There were definitely some miscommunications, receivers running open, things like that, but at the end of the day, a win's a win. That's the way the Steelers seem to get things done nowadays. And it's my job to keep it objective here. I told you I want to stay more on the positive side because of all the negativity coming, but we can't ignore the problems. We can't ignore missed open receivers. We can't ignore running backs running into tackles instead of into big open holes. We can't ignore wide receivers dropping the football or forgetting to toe tap. Those are things that happen. But we also can't ignore fourth quarter touchdown passes, game-sealing interceptions. You got to talk about the good as well. And that's what I hope we were able to do here is keep it level for anyone. Now, I think that wraps us up pretty well. Are you guys ready to get into picks, or you got some closing thoughts on this game?
Let's pick
I got
for
nothing.
The week.
All right, let's start with the AFC North football. We have the Houston Texans going to the Cincinnati Bengals. This game just says shootout, right? I mean, look at what Tampa and Houston did last week. We got to get some fireworks in this game, right? Laskers, what you thinking?
Give me the Bengals, and since you're talking shootout, let's go 14.
Genji, who you like?
Give me the Bengals.
I'm gonna try to take one on you guys here. CJ Stroud just set the rookie record for passing yards in a game. That dude is gonna lead the Texans to the playoffs. That's my awesomely awful take of the week. And fat, spoiled, and sassy donkey likes the Texans here. Next, we got the Browns going to the Ravens, and this has to be a slobber knocker the way those two defenses have been playing. Gingy, who'd you like?
Oh, it's going to be closer than everyone thinks. Give me the Ravens, though. Ravens. One-score game, though.
Oh, give me the Ravens at home for sure.
I also like the Ravens. You guys are killing my fun. Can't make up 2 games this week. How sad. Now, it's the time we need to... Oh, my gosh. Words together. We need a winner. We need a score. We have the Packers coming to the Steelers. Really, I don't ever remember playing the Packers except for one game that left a horrible taste in my mouth. And Rashad Mendenhall, I hear you crying about how other people should get the blame. But both you and Ben deserve the blame, and both of you pissed me off in that game. But this time, it's got to be different, right? No more sour taste for Donkey. Laskers, who'd you like?
Give me the Steelers 21-17.
X-Factor.
X Factor is Jaylen Warren with 1 touchdown, a big touchdown run.
Gingy.
How dare you, Laskers? How dare you, Laskers? Donkey, I understand.
I already told you I was going 21.
He did.
Donkey, I understand your pain. You always were talking about how I steal your X Factor. X Factor for me was definitely going to be Jaylen Warren in this game. I think that his success opens up success for that offense overall. Give me the Steelers. I'm going to call it 20-16.
You both have kept it pretty close.
They got a safety.
The power index predicted. He's just kicking 3 field goals last year. Come on now. The power index likes 18-17, so that means Donkey likes a 30-20, baby. Matt Canada, the cold air, it's working. I'm not going against it. 10 days of preparation. This has got to be the game. It comes together, and the X Factor has to be. Come on, guys. You missed the obvious one. The guy who's out here looking like he's being a big baby is going to show up and be like, see, I told y'all it wasn't about football. Shut the hell up. It's George Pickens. That dude has to be the X Factor. You make the news. You make the media. Tomlin doesn't set you down. I'm sure he had a nice talk with you. It's time to show up, young man. And this is the week to do it. That means we have to give shout-outs. And kind of a weird one since we shouted out the Tennessee game last week. But Laskers, shout out.
My shout out is the Bears. Congratulations, actually improving your stock by beating a team for the play for the next season.
Point of clarity, Laskers means the Bears just improved their draft stock by beating the Panthers. Kind of an odd thing to do. Gingy, shout out.
No, thank you. I'll save that energy for this weekend. For next week, Donkey. We're going to have somebody to shout out, I bet.
Well, it's a special day for Donkey. It's a special day for my family, being people who have served for 3 generations. So, of course, shout outs to all veterans on Veterans Day. And to me, that means I have to go and shout out all the Steelers veterans all the way back. Oh, my gosh, I can't think of his name now. All the way back there. Then we get up to Big Al, the current one that I remember and that I always will be. Guys like Russell in the past days. Those are my shout-outs. This is the day to let them know that you're thankful for everything they've done for you. Now it's time for me to let you know I am the Viking Donkey. It's Viking_Donkey at Twitch and Twitter. The X that is your daily dose of Donkey with Ginger is where you get all this fun content. Be sure to tune in. We're gonna have a bug cap next week. We're gonna have some power rankings with Laskers and Gingy and the Power Index never agreeing right now. It is a fist fight to see who gets those bottom 2 spots in the power rankings. It's always fun to listen to Steelers talk. Whether we agree or disagree, there's going to be some banter, there's going to be some yelling, and I'm going to stay fat, spoiled, and sassy. Laskers, what's up?
I'm the Laskers everywhere, and unfortunately, I will not be on the show next week because I got to watch my buddy's dogs, so I will give my picks for the next week to Donkey, and everyone will have to listen to him from Donkey.
Gingy in the house. I was waiting for Laskers to kick it over, but you know what? We don't need that.
He might
Gingy, we are talking about coming back off of arrest. Little rusty. 10 days without Steelers football. I know. Thursday night games are weird. I don't like it either, but we got a couple more coming. Steelers fans, get them towels ready. Get locked in. Here comes some Steeler football. Let's beat down the Packers. Here we go, Steelers.